So yeah, today we're going to be taking a look at my 1990 AST Premium II 38620. It's a 386SX running at 20 megahertz, which means it's got the 16-bit external bus on it. So you can see it's got the classic key lock right here. It's used in this one. I believe it's actually a hardware lock that actually locks the case shut. Proprietary size floppy drive on top. This was a common practice by Compaq and I think maybe Dell and a few other name brands in the late 80s, early 90s. And they're making strange computer form factors such as this. A standard teak 5¼ inch 1.2 meg floppy. Empty space for a CD-ROM, though I don't have enough IDE channels for it. Here's your standard control cluster. You got your reset switch right here. That's your regular power. That's when the turbo is shut off. I think it's got a software switching turbo on this. And hard disk activity. I had to actually fix this on this computer because it was messed up. And right here's your power switch. Now let's take a look at the back. Right here's the original tag from the time. Right over here is the power supply. For those of you who've seen these on old computers, if you're wondering what the inverted power plug is for, there's actually a plug that goes in here and you can power your monitor off of that right there. So you just plug it in. It was basically a way to avoid having to use an outlet strip on your computer. Down here we see the secondary 25-pin DB25 serial port. It's the first serial port, another 25-pin. This was before 9-pin became the popular standard. And right here is a parallel port, LPT1 as it's often referred to in the programs. You have a Microsoft bus mouse built into this motherboard. That's a very strange feature on this computer. I've never seen a computer with a bus mouse. Normally on one of these this would be a PS2 port, but I guess that's just how it works on these. And then right here you have a keyboard port, 5-pin mini DIN right here. And then of course you have your monitor plug-in. I've added some cards to this computer. It was bone stock and didn't have any cards when I got it. I've got a Yamaha sound chip plug-and-play 16-bit ISA sound card here and a 16-bit ISA 10 megabit per second plug-and-play Ethernet card. And the nice part about this computer is it's fairly easy to open the case. It's one of the first ones with those little twisty screws on it that you can just turn with your hands. There's another one up here in the center. Right here, if I can get a good enough grip around it. These screws are tiny and my fingers are big. And there's the third one. You just pop it off right here. There you go. And then the case itself just slides forward like that. And here's your computer. Whole top comes right off. And then I can show you all the upgrades and changes I've made. First off, I added this secondary Seagate 500, and I think it's I don't know, maybe it's a 200 and something megabyte. I don't remember what capacity it is, but I had it in an old 486 and it had a lot of size to it. Right here is the infamous Maxtor 7120AT, which was in the original Creeping Net computer. Well, one of these was. This isn't the same exact one, but it's the same make and model of drive. It's 124 megabyte IDE. It has a very distinguishable seek sound. I always know when one of these is in a computer because it has a particular squealy takeoff to it. Right here we see a standard size floppy drive stuck in the proprietary 5¼ inch slot. Below that's the teak and the power connector for the fan I added to the front. And then let's turn this around. And here's the front with the cover off. I added this fan here because there was a provision for it. I like to keep my computers cool. It doesn't spin the freest, but it actually works just fine. It's probably got strong magnets. Here's the control cluster up front without the cover on. More views of the hard drives. There's the Maxtor, and there's the Seagate. Right here is the strange part. It's got a daughter card in it for the motherboard. Right there's your SIMs, 4 30-pin SIMs equating to 10 megabytes. I think there's some onboard memory. Right over here is the processor. It's a flat mount Intel 386 SX20. These were pretty common at the time in lower end machines. And there's right there is your 387 coprocessor slot. Over here you have the two BIOS chips, non-flash BIOS. This one is copyright 91 AST Research, so maybe this computer is a 91. The case is stamped October 22nd. Yeah, so yeah, it's a 91. You can see the case, it's stamped right here, October 22nd, 1991. There's my sound card, and there's my network card. And I say let's fire this crazy thing up and see what we can do with it once I put the cover back on. Now we have it on the workbench. We're going to fire up the monitor and the computer. I have it set up like a tower right now because I'm limited on desk space. Here's the screen. Let's see here. There we go. There's the BIOS. So you can see we have the checksum RAM error. The battery on this thing is dead. Dead as a doornail. So what I do is I hit Control Alt Escape for setup. And there's the diagnostic message. Configuration corrupted or battery low. Okay. Now what it does is it uses the default settings, date and time, just to show you this bugger is Y2K compliant. 10:08. Time is 13. Let's see here. First drive is the 144, 1.2, integrated adapter. Go ahead and auto. Auto. Yes, this old 386 can auto detect its drives. Right there's our drive specifications for this computer. Edit configurable drive types. We want to use the integrated hard disk adapter, of course. EGA VGA for video. 640 kilobytes of conventional memory. Enable or disable. There is no math coprocessor, so I'm going to disable this. 378H. I'll just use the default values for serial and parallel. Default speed, high or low. Cache memory, enable that, of course. Keyboard disconnected at boot. Report as error. That's what I prefer, since this is not going to be a LAN machine. And of course, numlock is off at boot. Try floppy first. Enable password. Disable the server mode, and then we go down and press F3. Do you want to save the changes to your system configuration? Yes, I do. We get to see the boot up sequence again. Here it is, Premium II BIOS. We have 10 megabytes of memory, 128K of reserved, shadow RAM, video BIOS and shadow RAM, testing cache enabled. And there it goes, and she's ready to rock and roll. Starting MS-DOS. HIMEM is testing the extended memory. Windows Net Start. And there we go.